Dear learners, I welcome you all to the course Services Marketing. And today I'm going to discuss a chapter, Customer Perceptions of Services. In fact, it is a brief discussion on the whole chapter. I discussed in details in our classes. In addition to our classes, I would like to give you a brief discussion on this chapter so that if you miss or anybody misses the class, you can have an understanding from this discussion about the basic topics or basic issues which we covered in the classes. So I would like to draw your attention to the title of the chapter is Customer Perceptions. I repeat, Customer Perceptions of Services. You know the GAPS model. GAP is all about what the customers are expecting from the company and what is their perceptions about the performance of the company. If we find any difference between these two, then we can say there is gap, there are gaps. So how customers are perceiving the services of the company, it is really crucial to the marketers. If we fail to read customers' expectations about the performance of the company, it will be quite difficult for the company to satisfy customers and thus to have a relationship with the customers. So first of all, let us see what is the difference between satisfaction and service quality. I tell you, there's so many people, so many individuals who feel that these two ones are the same. No differences. In many eyes, many people think that there is no difference between customer satisfaction and service quality. But as a student of marketing, as a person marketing, we all have to understand that there's a difference. Yet, yes, there's a difference between these two issues in marketing. And they are two different things, customer satisfaction and service quality. In fact, customer satisfaction is a comprehensive term. It includes a lot of factors. And service quality is one of the factors. So many factors which influence, which determine customer satisfaction. Service quality is one of them. And probably, service quality is one of the most important factors that determine customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is all about function of customer's expectation. To what extent a product, a good or service can meet the expectations of the customers that determine customer satisfaction. On the other hand, service quality basically it includes particular dimension of the services that meets the needs of the customers. So here I would like to mention that customer satisfaction is a broader concept than service quality. Service quality is one of the factors which determine customer satisfaction. There's so many concepts of quality. Many people say that quality is all about the ability of a product to perform its functions. So what we are talking about a particular product, if it can perform like that, then we can say that it is a quality. There's so many philosophies of quality. I can tell you one. Siemens, Siemens is one of the world's leading giant companies. To Siemens, quality is when our customers come back to us, but our products don't come. So this is what the understanding of quality by Siemens. So first thing is we'll have to have a clear understanding between customer satisfaction and service quality. Service quality is one of the factors determining and that which determine customer satisfaction. Let us see what are the factors which determine customer satisfaction. If you see the screen, there's a lot of factors which determine customer satisfaction. And as I said, service quality is one of the factors. So besides service quality, what are other factors? Product quality, So as a market, since we are studying service marketing, we'll keep our light, we keep our focus on service. So first thing is service quality. Quality is all about the ability of a particular service to perform its functions. But the point is how we can quantify, how we can measure service quality. Service is intangible. So definitely it is quite difficult to determine the quality of a particular service. However, according to service quality model, there are some dimensions, there are some specific dimensions by based on which we can measure or we can quantify the quality of service. And you can see the five dimensions of service quality. The first one is reliability, responsiveness. Number two, number three, assurance. Number four, empathy. Empathy. The last one is tangibles. Reliability. It is the dimension that measures to what extent a service is being provided dependably and accurately. Dependably and accurately. Responsiveness, another dimension by which you can measure to what extent the service providers are willing to respond to their customers. Assurance, to what extent the service providers can give confidence, can instill confidence in the mind of the customers while they're taking services from the provider. Empathy, how caring the service providers are while they're providing services to the customers, but how to what extent as a service provider we are giving personalized, we are giving customized attention to the customers. Empathy. And finally, tangibles, what physical setting, in what physical setting as a marketeer we're delivering services to the customers. That is our tangibles. So these are the dimensions which determine quality of services, which determine service quality. And you see the other factors which determine customer satisfaction, service quality, product quality, or goods quality we can talk about. Say, as a service provider, whenever we are providing services, there can be some accompanying goods, physical objects, which are related to our services. If I'm talking about a hospital services, in a hospital, we don't just, not that we are having just interaction with the doctor, and we are also having some food, or say cafeteria and so on. If we are staying in a particular hospital for some days for any reason, with our sickness and so on, so some food, breakfast, dinner, lunch, these are also being served by the hospital to the patients. So a lot of physical objects or goods can be associated with a particular service. So what is the quality of those physical objects? Then you say price, how worthy the price is for the goods and services we are taking from a particular provider. Okay, that will also determine our expectation. Whether it is just and fair in the eyes of the customers or not. That is important. In what situation we are taking services from the company, that will have an influence on our customer satisfaction. Personal factor, I mean, the psychological makeup of the individual. It means that I can say mood, emotion, psychological makeup, psychological state, mood, emotion. I can say a mood is very transient. Mood can be changed, but emotional state is not that transient. So the emotional state of an individual will also influence customer satisfaction. So as I said earlier, that customer satisfaction is a comprehensive, it's a very big term, broader concept than service quality. But service quality is one of the factors that determine customer satisfaction. And here, if you see the flow chart, if you see the illustration, if we can satisfy our customers, it will be easy. It will be easy for us, okay, to make our customers loyal. Customers loyalty. You see, perception, we may perceive a particular service in different levels. In two levels, we can perceive a particular service. First one is cumulative perception, number two is transaction perception. Transaction perception is all about when you perceive a particular service on the basis of a single interaction we are having with that particular service provider. Okay, that is called transaction perception. I repeat, if we perceive a particular service provider on the basis of a single interaction like I am having as a customer with a particular service provider, from a particular service provider, then it is called transaction perception. Quality perception is just opposite to that. When you perceive a particular service on the basis of a series of interactions, on the basis of all the interactions as a customer I'm having with a particular company. If I make a perception, if I perceive the services of that company on the basis of all the interactions I am having with the company, then it is called cumulative perception. Then it is called cumulative perception. So as I was discussing, so what are the factors again? Okay, there are the factors which influence customer suspicion. I can give you. I can discuss it in detail a bit. Product or service quality is as a marketer, whatever is our market offering. It can be a physical object, it can be a service, no matter. The quality of that physical object, that service will determine. I talked about quality, 5 dimensions in case of service quality, as we are talking about services marketing today. So those 5 qualities will determine the quality of a particular service. Number one, number two, specific food and service features. So the physical object or service we are providing to the customers, the features of that particular goods or service will determine our satisfaction. Number two, interesting point is attribution of service success or failure. Attributions of service success or failure. Say, if you buy a particular service and as a customer, my experience is not expected. Say my experience is bad. I'm dissatisfied with the particular service. So if he is, you can take it as a failure. If I fail to have our expected services from a particular service provider, I can attribute this failure to some parties, especially two parties. If I fail to receive my expected service or if I'm dissatisfied with a particular service provider, I will put the blame to the service provider directly, or I will take the blame myself. So I can attribute the failure to the company, to the service provider, and to the customer. I mean, to myself, to me. And usually in service marketing, there are few intermediaries. In most of the cases, it is direct marketing channel. Okay, service is all about the interaction between the provider and receiver. So, in case of any failure, I am putting the blame to the company, to the provider, or to myself, to me. So, what is attribution for success and failure? So, it is very critical for the marketer. As a marketer, we have to be very concerned, highly concerned while you are providing services to the customers. Then, perceptions of on the other hand, I can tell you, say I'm buying a physical object from a company, say Luxor wheel. If I fail to have expected performance from the company, I can put the blame to many parties. I can put the blame to the Unilever. I can put the blame to myself. So what a decision I made to buy this Luxor wheel. But I can put the blame to the agent. I can put the blame to the wholesaler. I can put the blame to the retailer, and so on. So there are so many parties involved. In case of the distribution, in case of the marketing of physical object, but in case of services, only few parties, the provider and receivers, usually they are involved in the production and delivery of services. So in case of any failure, we'll put the blame to the company and to myself. So in most of the cases, we are putting blame to the company. So that is the crucial point to the marketer. So they'll have to be very concerned, very sensitive while they're dealing with customers. Perceptions of equity or fairness. As a customer, whenever we are receiving a particular service from a particular service provider, we will see at the same time, while I am receiving, I'll perceive how the company is providing services to other customers. If you find that so other customers are served in a better manner than me, probably it will be dissatisfying to me. So I will see the equality and equity of services, like how the company is providing services. If I see that I am being served as an inferior manner, in an inferior manner to to other customers, that will be highly dissatisfying to me. So how the company is serving me and how the company is serving other customers, that will be shared by me or by my customers. That shows that will indicate to what extent the companies maintain equity and fairness in providing services. So that can be one of the factors which determine customer satisfaction. And there's some other customers, say other customers, family members, co-workers, what they're saying, word of mouth, and so on. So what other people are talking about their services, that can also influence my satisfaction and user price. When I'm buying a particular service, I'm taking a particular service, I will perceive how I am perceiving the price. To what extent the price was just and fair, justified, or worthy for the services I'm getting from the company. If you find that the price of the service is worthy, just and fair, justified, in that case it will be satisfying. If not, it won't be that satisfying. Personal factors, as I said, our mood, our emotional state. Our emotional state is relatively stable. On the contrary, our mood is relatively transient. So, in what mode, with what emotional state we are taking a particular service from a particular service provider, that will influence our satisfaction. And finally, situational factors. In what situation we are going to take the service, that will also influence our satisfaction. So, they are the major factors which influence customer satisfaction. Let us see service quality. As I said, how we perceive, or on what basis we perceive the quality of a particular service. How we can define service quality, you see, as service quality is all about the judgment of a customer, about the excellence of the service provided in relation to the quality that was expected. I repeat, the customer's judgment of overall excellence of the service provided in relation to the quality that was expected. Whenever we are assessing, we are perceiving a particular service. Basically, we are assessing the service quality in three levels. The first one is outcome quality, interaction quality, and physical environment quality. You will find that in three levels. As a customer, we perceive service quality. The first one is outcome quality, number two, interaction quality, and number three is physical environment quality. See that first one, outcome quality, it means the result of service. As an individual, we believe in result. So what result we are having? What is the effect? What is the outcome? What is my expected outcome? What I am getting by taking a particular service from a particular service provider? There is a outcome result. Number two, interaction. How the service is being provided. The service is already interaction that takes place between the provider and receiver. So what is the quality of interactions? How a teacher is interacting with his or her students, how a doctor is interacting with his or her students, how a hotel authority, hotel management is interacting with their boarders, with their guests in the hotel. So interaction quality. And the third one is physical environment quality. It means that in what environment, in what physical setting we are producing services and we are delivering services to the customers. So in three levels, on the basis of three areas, we usually assess the quality of a particular service. We see the result, outcome, interaction, how it is being provided to the customers, and in what setting the services are provided to the customers, which is called physical environment quality. As I said, software model, how we can measure, how we can quantify service quality on the basis of these five factors, five dimensions. We can measure the service quality, the quality of the services provided by a particular company. I repeat, the first one is reliability, number two, assurance, number three, tangibility, number four, empathy, and the last one is responsiveness. Reliability, the ability to perform the promised services dependably and accurately. I mentioned how accurately, how dependably the service provider can deliver services to the customers. Assurance, knowledge and courtesy of the employees, and their ability to inspire trust and confidence. It means that to what extent we can instill confidence, we can we can inspire customers, we can give customers confidence and trust in taking services from the company. Tangibles, physical facilities, equipment, appearance of personnel. It means that in what setting, in what physical environment the company is providing, whether we are having a healthy environment, physical setting to deliver a particular service to the customers or not. Tangibles. Empathy, how caring, how customized, how individualized attention we are giving to a particular customer. So empathy is all about how caring, how individualized attention we are giving to the customers. And finally, responsiveness, it is our willingness. to help customers and to provide prompt services. There's a willingness of the provider to accommodate the request, to willingness to help to respond to the customers as soon as possible, to provide prompt services to the customers. Responsiveness. So there are the dimensions based on which we can measure the quality of services according to serve call model, So there are the dimensions. There are 5 dimensions. You can see the screen which can be used to measure reliability. Okay, there are the 5 dimensions which we can use to measure the assurance of a particular service. Okay, there are the 4 dimensions. Yeah, we can use to measure the tangibility or tangibles of a particular service. And there are the 5 dimensions. There are the 5 statements which we can use to measure the empathy of a particular service. And finally, responsiveness, as I said, to what extent the providers are willing to respond to the customers. And you see, these are the dimensions, the statements which we can use in designing a questionnaire to measure the responsiveness of a particular service. In fact, in these 5 dimensions, there is a good number of statements based on which, if we can prepare a questionnaire to administer on our sample size on the customers, and based on the responses of the customers or our respondents, our target respondents, will be able to measure the quality of a particular service. And it is a globally accepted model, soft coil model. I gave a lot of discussions. I have shown you the questionnaire in the class, how we can administer a survey and how we can design questionnaire and so on. So on the basis of these 5 dimensions, we can measure the quality of any service company, any service provider. As I said, service is all about interaction. Service is all about encounter. And as in marketing or in service marketing, we see there are 3 types of encounters. Encounter means just an interaction which occurs anytime the customer interacts with the firm, can potentially be critical in determining customer satisfaction and loyalty. So my understanding is that phrase is simple. Encounter or service encounter is all about a service interaction. An encounter is just an interaction that takes place between the provider and receiver, between the service provider and service receiver, while they are in a position to perform a particular service, to deliver a particular service, to take a service from a particular provider, from the customer's point of view. The service encounter is all about an interaction that takes place between the provider and receiver while they're producing and delivering a particular service to the customers. So if you see, you will find there are 3 types of encounters. Remote encounters, number 1, number 2, phone encounters, number 2, number 3, face-to-face encounters. I repeat, remote encounters, phone encounters, and face-to-face encounters. Remote encounters is all about when we interact, we take a service from a machine without any human touch, without any physical touch. You take an example, okay, we're dealing with the ATM booth, we're dealing with ATM. So we're depositing money, we're withdrawing money. So there's no individual, or there is no bank officer and so on within the ATM booth. So as a customer, I'm taking service from a particular bank, having an interaction with the machine, which is called remote encounter. Phone encounter is to take a particular service. We make a call to a bank officer or to the call center of a bank. So as soon as we are making a call to them, our call will be responded quickly, politely. And they'll be, I guess, if I have any query, okay, they'll be responding to me or to us and so on. So we are interacting with an officer, with a bank officer over phone. Okay, what is that? Not in person, not face to face. That is phone encounter. And the last one is face to face encounter. We go to the bank, and we are having an interaction with an officer, with a person who is in a position to deliver services to the customers. So we have in-person interactions, like face-to-face interactions. Face-to-face interactions with a service provider. What is that? That is face-to-face encounters. So types of encounter, it means that there are 3 levels, 3 types of encounters. Face-to-face, when you interact with a service provider in person. Phone encounters, when you take services again from a particular service provider over phone. Remote encounters, when we take services from a from a service provider without any human touch. It means we are interacting with machine, with equipment. So what is that? That is remote encounter. And we are taking services in three, again, following these three encounters from a particular service provider. And I tell you, each and every encounter is an opportunity for the provider to build trust, to reinforce quality, to build their brand identity, and to build customer loyalty. When you go to the bank, having interactions with the officers, when you're interacting over phone with the bank officers, say for example, if I take financial service industry as one of the biggest, I guess, service industries across the world, and how smoothly we can interact with the machine equipment, ATM booth, and so on. So every interaction is an opportunity for the banks or for the service providers to build trust, to have confidence from the customers, to improve the quality, to establish their branding, and to create loyalty. The other common themes in critical service encounters. The first one is recovery, number two, adaptability, number three is coping, number four, spontaneity. Recovery is all about, so what measures as a marketer, as a service provider, we are undertaking in case of any failure? You know, a service can be provided by an individual or by a machine. So whoever is or whatever is providing or producing services for the customers, that can be failure, two error. And in most of the cases, services are provided by the human beings, and two error is human. So if there is any failure in delivering services to the customers, I repeat, what measures the company is undertaking to make it up? Okay, that is all about recovery. What immediate measures the service provider is undertaking in case of their failure is called recovery. Adaptability is all about, since customers are different, the customers may have different requests, okay, to the providers. So as a marketer, as a provider, how we are taking measures to accommodate all the requests, all the requirements, all the needs of the customers. The measures we are taking, the way we are responding to the customers, different requests, needs, and requirements, okay, that is adaptability. Spontaneity, service is all about a performance. Sometimes it is scripted, sometimes it is unscripted. So the willingness, or what measures we're taking to the request. Some are usual and unusual requests, we are getting from the from the customers. So what measures and what capacity, what attitudes we are having, what actions we are undertaking to respond to the request, usual and unusual requests of the customers. That is spontaneity. That is unprompted, non-solicited employee actions and attitude, okay, to whom? To their customers. Spontaneity, coping. In each and every case, each and every industry, you will find some problem customers. There's so many customers who don't have any logic for their argument, behind their agreement, for their requirement, and so on. So how we are dealing with all these problem customers, difficult customers, the customers who are above, who are beyond the general logic, usually. So they are problem customers, they're difficult customers. How we are dealing with those difficult customers? That is all about coping. So, okay, these are the 4 areas as a service marketer we can do. We can undertake research in these 4 areas, and they're the 4 areas we'll have to address, and we can improve. If we can properly address these 4 areas, we'll be able to improve the loyalty of the customers. So recovery, in case of recovery, as I mentioned, that the measures which are taken by the company in case of their failure. So there are some do's, there are some don'ts. In case of recovery, there are the do's I have mentioned. I gave you a lot of examples in the classes. So they're the initiatives, and they're the do's we'll be following. They're the don'ts we will never do this. In case of recovery, and you see that I'm not going to explain because I have had a lot of discussions in our classes about this adaptability. What measures we're undertaking to to the different to accommodate different requests of the customers. So so in case of adaptability, so there's the juice, all these measures will be undertaking, and all these don'ts we won't undertake. We'll have to be very careful while we're dealing with customers in case of adaptability. Then coping, as I was talking about difficult customers, problem customers, I'll be managing them in case of problem customers. There are the do's, there are the don'ts, which I did discuss in detail in our class. And spontaneity, the flexibility of the service providers to accommodate all the solicited and unsolicited requests of the customers, and responsiveness of the providers, spontaneity, flexibility of the providers to accommodate all the solicited and unsolicited requirements of the customers. So in case of a spontaneity, they're the do's and they're the don'ts. We'll do all this, we will never ever do this. So probably again that is all about the brief discussion of this chapter, customer perceptions of services. I hope if you listen to me, if you go through this recording, you'll have understanding about it. And if you miss my class, or if anybody misses the classes, I hope you'll be benefited from this discussion, from this brief discussion on this chapter. And with this, viewers, I would like to thank you for staying with me. Thank you so much.